Hi Jane, I just thought I'd share with you some quick analysis of your swimming video that I took, and we'll just have a quick look through it. And obviously you're gonna be doing your triathlon soon, but it just gives you a good idea of some of the things that we talked about and some of the things that you're currently doing. So we'll watch you push off. Okay, so you're pushing off. Okay, nice push off. So this is in slow motion, so it's about 5% of your actual swim speed. And it's really good because we can see exactly what you're doing and exactly how your hands are entering, exactly what your legs are doing. So hopefully we're going to get a stroke in a minute. So you see then you're just about to turn your head to breathe. So we can see a little bit there that you are lifting your head, so you've got the whole head out of the water. But actually I think that's improved quite a lot. So we see here hand comes over and enters, and what we see is it's quite a flat entry. So your fingers are entering first, but then your elbows kind of going straight in. So you end up with that kind of flat arm, and what we'd really want is sort of your arm going down the slope as a continuum, so the fingertips keep moving forward and down and the elbow follows. So we see the elbow go in. Okay, and I'll have a little look at the other arm. So nice recovery. Okay, we see those fingers pointing down. We could do with those a little bit more forwards. So what we're actually doing here, if we come back a little bit, and it's a massively common triathlete kind of swimmer thing to do. So what we want is the fingertips below the elbow, but actually what we want is the fingertips and the wrist and the elbow all in a straight line. So we see here you've got your fingertips pointing right down, but actually what we'd like is those fingertips to be more in that sort of straight line rather than with a bend in the middle. Okay, so here we go. So we go in, and that's good. So if we look at the other arm, so again the arm's coming nicely out of the water, but we're keeping that hand. So that's a good shot because it's actually, you can see there that the elbow is actually higher than the hand. Oops, sorry, that line went wrong, but the elbow is actually higher than the hand. So where that comes from is, I think we've talked about sort of rotation of the body, is the hip and the shoulder are very flat, which means that it's quite hard then to get the rotation to be able to get the fingertips. So you need to rotate the shoulder and the hip to make sure that you can get the fingertips down in front of the elbow. So somehow I've gone back to the beginning, so we'll move it along a little bit. Okay, so we get going. So here we see you taking your breath, and what we really want ideally, and this is not necessarily something for now, is half of the face in the water and half of the face out of the water. But what's good about that breathing position is that your head is not up like it has been, so you are getting a lot more efficient at that. So as you turn, your head goes back in. So ideally what we'd want is the head to be back in the water now, so that your head is already in when the arm comes over. So if we have a little look at that breathing again on the other side. So what we see here, we're going to go, I think we're going to go under the water in a minute. So see that fingertip really pointing down, but actually it's kind of a false, so we think we've got our fingertips down, but actually what we have got is our elbow down. So we want to really get that elbow up, so you kind of lead everything by pulling the elbow up. Okay, so we'll go under the water. So having a little look at your body position here. So what you can see is that your legs are a little bit low, and I'm just going to stop that there. Okay, so what we see here is, so we're looking at your left hand side, and this is the side where we're definitely saying that the elbow is entering before the hand, and that's what we can see. And what we need to do is get the shoulder and the elbow up so that the hand can enter and spear down to here. Okay, and if we enter and spear down to there, what we tend to find is that the legs will come up, so you're in a straighter line. Okay, so you're going to see where you are now. So you're pushing down, taking your breath, keeping your arm out, which is good. Now you could do with getting your head back in the water sometime soon. So what we're in a position of is at the moment is that you're still looking up and trying to breathe, and your hand is pushing down, which means that basically where you're getting water in your mouth is because as you're pushing your hand down, your head is dropping, but you're still trying to get in. So if you're going to keep your head there, you need to stop with pushing your hand down so quickly. So you see here. Okay, this is another interesting point here. So when we talk about swimming, we always have something in the front quadrant. And if the front quadrant is this area here, so we just basically split the body up into quarters. So because what we know you've done is kept pushing down with that hand while you're breathing, you've now got nothing in that front quadrant, so there's nothing supporting you. Whereas if you had your arm up here, you would still have that hand, and then you would turn your head, and as you push down, the other arm would be coming through. So what we want is something always to be in that front quadrant. One of your arms always should be in the front quadrant. So we see here, hand goes in, quite a nice entry. Nice exhaling here, really good breathing. And again, we could do with something in that front quadrant at all times. And that's where that side kick drill and the 6-1-6 drill are really, really good. See, here's better because I think here you're going to have both in the front quadrant, maybe. Not quite. Okay, and then we're going to take a breath. And you see here again. So you take your breath and then watch that hand. So you're still taking your breath and that arm is just drifting away, drifting away, drifting away, drifting away. And now you're in a position where you've got nothing in that front quadrant. So all that is keeping you up is the fact that you're straining your head and your legs have dropped. So we need to do that whole breathing with your ear on your shoulder and keeping that arm out in that side kick position that we've been practicing. Okay, and then arm goes in, and we could do with that arm coming in, spearing forwards and down as if we had a cardboard box in front of us, and we're spearing with the fingertips down to the bottom bar corner of the box. Okay, so we're going to move now to the over the top view. Nice view of my trainers. Another view of my trainers. Okay, so we'll get going on this one now. So you're going to push off in a second. Here we go. So you push off. Just a sec. Yeah. So push off, and let's watch you now. So we're going to take a breath by the looks of it off the first stroke. So we take that breath. Now look here at this little hand here. And that's a really interesting one because that's the one where the elbow's going in first, and that's starting off from your streamline. So what you've actually got here is your hand is pointing up, and that's kind of the position that it seems to like to go into. So we've got to focus on that side kick drill where we're pointing forwards and down. So nice breathing. Ideally we'd only be able to see half the face. Okay, so what you see now is because you've only got one arm, or you haven't got one arm in the front quadrant, your body is not supported at the front end. So what happens is that your legs have to kick out to stabilise yourself. So what we'd really want to see is that arm still there, and then that would straighten out the legs. So good rotation round. That's quite a nice entry with that arm actually. Quite like that, and you're entering nicely in front of the shoulder. Now what the issue with that is there is that arm is starting to pull down before the other one is coming over. So ideally we'd want this other arm coming over as the other one is just leaving the front quadrant. So we see this one here. And as that enters, now that's what we say here is crossing over the centre line. So ideally what we want is that left arm to do what the right arm does and enter in front of the shoulder rather than swinging across. Because what you see now is because you've got that crossover, this leg here has to kick out to stabilise the movement. So we could do with that arm coming over a little bit earlier to join the other one, that's okay. And it goes in front of the shoulder. Okay, so what we're doing here is you're now breathing. Now I would breathe a little bit earlier. I would breathe as the arm's coming over. So not this left arm, but as the right arm comes over, I would be breathing away from the arm. So as my arm comes over, I turn away from the arm to breathe, and then the arm enters the water. And as it enters, I've pretty much finished taking my breath. So then you see we've got nothing in the front quadrant, which is why it becomes difficult. So that 6-1-6 drill and the side kick drill is really, really important. Okay, let's have a little look at you under the water now. Okay, so that arm goes in. And pushing down. So what we see here is quite a straight arm. It's not bad, but you see all these bubbles, it's because it's sort of slipping through the water. So we could do with really thinking about that barrel shape and that slightly bent high elbow. But that's okay, that looks okay. Okay, so now we're going to spear in again. So here is quite interesting actually. If we go back, okay, so the arm pulls down. Now as your arm gets to about here, I would be starting to breathe to the side where the arm is pulling through. So I'd be breathing now as my arm is coming over, and then as my arm goes in, I'd be finishing the breath, whereas you are starting the breath, which means that as you're breathing, you're losing that arm at the front end. So if we breathe earlier, then we stand more chance of having the arm still in the front quadrant. Okay, let's have another look at this other arm. So here, let's watch the right arm come in. Here we go. Comes in. Spears forward and down. You can see it's a little bit flat and it's really just those fingers that are down. And then what we would like to see there is that bend in the elbow, which we're not getting. And what I'll do is I'll just show you a quick picture to finish off what Becky Adlington's arms look like. What we see here is Becky Adlington's pull, and you see she comes in, she spears forwards and down, she gets hold of that water, she keeps the elbow higher, pushing the hand back under the body, and ultimately that angle is about 110. So what you've got on yours is that you're kind of just pulling straight like that, and actually what we want to have is that sort of shape. Now that's kind of what we're ultimately working towards. But I think what the video shows you is that a lot of the stuff that we've done, you're now starting to get, and now we can start working on the timing more, which will help you then to be able to sort out these little more kind of tweaky type things. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions at all, please do get in touch. Speak to you soon. Bye.